Europe made one decision. That decision is now shutting down its factories. And you can see it in one number. A factory in Germany pays $180 per megawatt hour for electricity. The same factory in the United States pays $45, 4 times the cost for the same factory. That gap is not geology. Europe did not run out of energy. That gap is policy. Industries absorbing that cost are now doing the math. The math is not complicated. The answer it keeps producing is not the answer Brussels wants to hear. Before we go further, one question. If you make energy so expensive that your industrial base cannot compete globally, what exactly are you left with? Nobody in European policy is answering that. Hold that question. Draghi, the man who saved the euro, said Europe faces an existential competitiveness crisis. He is asking for $800 billion every year. The Marshall Plan cost less in total. Europe's response? A working group. The man who saved the euro warned of managed decline. Europe formed a committee. This is not a policy failure. It is a constraint problem. 3 constraints cannot coexist. Constraint 1, legally binding climate commitments, carbon neutrality targets written into European law. Constraint 2, geopolitical emergency. Russian energy gone. Defense spending must double. Chinese industrial dependency must be reduced, all simultaneously, all expensive. Constraint 3, electoral survival. European voters face the highest cost of living in 40 years. Governments imposing additional industrial costs are losing elections to parties promising to reverse everything. 3 constraints. Incompatible directions, finite resources. Something has to break. What is breaking, quietly in earnings reports and factory closure announcements, is the industrial base itself. And once that capacity leaves, it does not come back. Is there a single European policymaker who looks at these numbers and changes their position? Or is the institutional momentum so complete that the data no longer matters? This is not theoretical anymore. It is already happening. BASF, the world's largest chemical company, announced permanent capacity reductions in Europe. An accelerated investment in China. Not temporary, not under review, permanent. Northvolt, Europe's flagship battery manufacturer. Billions in European public funding. Designed to be the answer to Chinese battery dominance. Filed for bankruptcy in late 2024. Volkswagen, the company whose name literally translates as the people's car, began closing German factories for the first time in its 87-year history. Each of these individually can be explained away. Together, they are a pattern. Patterns at this scale do not reverse quietly, and once that capacity leaves, it does not come back. Here's the part of this story that almost nobody tells. When an industrial facility closes, what actually leaves with it? Not just the jobs or tax revenue. Industrial decline is not just loss of output, it is loss of memory. The process engineer, the tool maker, the quality manager, their careers embedded in one system. They don't wait for conditions to improve. They retire, relocate, disappear into different industries. And when they go, the knowledge goes with them. You cannot rebuild a chemical cluster or reconstruct a precision manufacturing ecosystem with just a check or a government grant. These capabilities took decades to build, yet they are being dismantled in years. The countries absorbing them are not planning to return them. Once that capacity leaves, it does not come back. Previous transitions created new capabilities as old ones dissolved. This transition is dissolving industrial capabilities without a clear picture of what replaces them. That is not a transition. That is a subtraction. What does Europe become in 2040 if this continues? A services economy built on a hollowed industrial base? A continent that designs products but outsources everything required to build them? Or something with no name yet? Nobody knows. And that uncertainty, that complete absence of a credible answer, is the most important signal in this story. Europe lost 10 percentage points of global manufacturing share between 2000 and 2024. China gained more than 20. This is not coincidence. This is the cumulative result of 2 decades of policy decisions. Prioritizing regulatory complexity, carbon cost internalization, and energy price elevation, while competitors made opposite choices. The EU's carbon border adjustment mechanism, elegant in theory, taxes imports from countries with lower carbon standards. In practice, large multinationals absorb the cost, but small and medium European manufacturers cannot. It accelerates consolidation. It does nothing about the underlying energy price gap driving relocation decisions every single quarter. European industrial policy is solving the visible problem, while the structural problem gets worse every quarter. The people designing these policies are not stupid. They have the data. They see the factory closure announcements, which leaves only 2 possibilities. Either they believe short-term pain produces long-term gain, and they are willing to impose that pain on workers and communities who did not vote for it and will not benefit. Or they have concluded that the industrial base cannot be saved on acceptable political terms. The policy is managed exit. Neither answer is comfortable. Both deserve to be said out loud. The timing of the full reckoning is unknown. If you hold European equities, industrials, or euro-denominated assets, you don't need to predict exactly how this ends. You need to stop assuming it resolves the way the official narrative says it will. Official narratives have one consistent pattern. They are most confident immediately before they are wrong. One question before you go. Do you think Europe's green transition is worth the industrial cost? Or are we sacrificing workers for an ideology? Leave your answer below. If this raised questions you had not fully considered, subscribe. The next video covers something the Draghi report mentioned in one paragraph. Which European industries are not just surviving, but systematically acquiring the assets of the ones that are not. There are winners inside this story. Most people are so focused on the collapse, they have not noticed who is buying. The data is public. The buyers are already moving. The only question is, are you early or are you exit liquidity?